The novel begins with a series of letters from Robert Walton, an explorer, to his sister. An image of a letter or a desk with writing materials. Walton is on a quest to reach the North Pole, but his ship becomes stuck in ice. A picture of a ship stuck in ice, or a snowy landscape. While waiting for the ice to thaw, Walton and his crew come across a dying Victor Frankenstein, a young scientist who has been pursuing a monstrous creature across the Arctic. An image of a dying man, or a snowy landscape with a figure in the distance.
As Frankenstein lies dying, he tells Walton his story. Frankenstein was born into a wealthy family in Geneva and was fascinated by science and philosophy from an early age. He became obsessed with the idea of creating life and spent years studying and experimenting, eventually succeeding in bringing a grotesque but sentient creature to life.
However, Frankenstein was horrified by his creation and abandoned it, fleeing in fear and disgust. A picture of a person fleeing in fear, or a dark and stormy night. The creature, left to fend for itself, seeks revenge against its creator. An image of the creature, or a picture of a person seeking revenge. It kills Frankenstein's younger brother, William, and frames the family's servant, Justine, for the crime. A picture of a death scene, or a portrait of Justine Moritz.
Frankenstein's creature demands that he create a companion for it, threatening to destroy everything he holds dear if he refuses. Frankenstein agrees, but ultimately destroys the companion, fearing that they would multiply and wreak havoc on humanity.
Frankenstein was born into a wealthy family in Geneva and was fascinated by science and philosophy from an early age. A picture of a wealthy family, or a portrait of a young Victor Frankenstein. He became obsessed with the idea of creating life and spent years studying and experimenting, eventually succeeding in bringing a grotesque but sentient creature to life. An image of a laboratory or workshop, or a picture of the creature.
This longer summary provides a more detailed overview of the novel's plot, themes, characters, style, and impact. Frankenstein is a classic novel that continues to be widely read and studied today, and its exploration of complex themes and ethical questions remains relevant and thought-provoking. Themes: ambition and responsibility, guilt and conscience, playing God and the dangers of unchecked scientific progress.
Themes: ambition and responsibility, guilt and conscience, playing God and the dangers of unchecked scientific progress, the nature of monstrosity and what makes us human, loneliness and the need for companionship, revenge and forgiveness.
The creature appears to Walton and his crew, mourning the loss of its creator and expressing remorse for its actions. The novel ends with the creature disappearing into the darkness, leaving Walton and his crew to ponder the implications of Frankenstein's story.
Style: Gothic and horror elements, epistolary format, letters and narratives within narratives. Philosophical and scientific themes and debates, romantic and poetic language. Justine is wrongly executed, and Frankenstein's family is torn apart by grief and guilt. An image of an execution, or a picture of a family in mourning. Frankenstein's creature demands that he create a companion for it, threatening to destroy everything he holds dear if he refuses. A picture of the creature, or a scene depicting a demand or threat.
In retaliation, the creature kills Frankenstein's best friend, Henry Clavel, and later kidnaps and kills Frankenstein's fiancée, Elizabeth, on their wedding night. Frankenstein's father dies of grief, and Frankenstein himself dies shortly after telling his story to Walton.
Impact: influenced the science fiction and horror genres, explored complex themes and ethical questions, raised questions about the responsibilities of scientific discovery and creation, inspired countless adaptations and interpretations in literature, film, and popular culture. 1. A portrait of Mary Shelley, the author of the novel. 2. An image of the Arctic landscape, where Robert Walton's ship becomes stuck in ice. 3. A picture of Victor Frankenstein, the protagonist and creator of the monster. 4. An illustration of the monster, as described in the novel. 5. A scene depicting the death of William Frankenstein, Victor's younger brother. 6. A portrait of Justine Moritz, the family's servant who is wrongly accused of murder. 7. An image of Henry Clerval, Victor's best friend and confidant. Point 8. A picture of Elizabeth Lavenza, Victor's fiancée and later wife. 9. A scene showing the destruction of the creature's companion, which Frankenstein creates and then destroys. Point 10. An image of the creature mourning the loss of its creator, Victor Frankenstein. Point 11. A picture of Robert Walton and his crew, who find Frankenstein and hear his story. Point 12. A background image of a laboratory or workshop, where Frankenstein conducts his experiments. 13. An image of a castle or mansion, representing the Frankenstein family's wealth and status. Point 14. A picture of a graveyard or tomb, symbolizing death and the supernatural. 15. An image of a stormy night, representing the darkness and horror of the novel.